Alright guys, we got the Dodge back in the shop here. I done went and test drove this thing and went ahead and ordered these 2-inch blocks right here for the rear leafs. I've got 1-inch blocks in there now, and the truck sets about a 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch of rake, so it's almost level. I like a little bit more than that, so I'm going to take the 1-inch block out, put a 2-inch block in. That way we're setting about 1.5 inches of rake. That way we put something in the back of the truck, we hook a trailer up or whatever, the truck's not, setting downhill. Got these blocks from Supreme Suspensions. They sent a little koozie and a bottle opener there. Anyway, we're going to snatch these tires off of here. I've got it already jacked up. I've got the jacks under there, and I just put this with a block of wood on it right here to lift up just a little bit as extra safety. We'll go ahead and snatch the tires and wheels off so we can get to the U-bolts. I've already replaced the U-bolts with a longer U-bolt whenever I put the 1-inch blocks in there several years ago. So I think we can get those loose, and all I have to do is back them off, loosen the shocks up, or take the shocks loose on one end, drop the axle down, slip that block out, slip these blocks in, tighten the bolts back up and the shocks, and we'll be good. And we'll have the truck setting like I like it to set. This is just personal preference. A lot of people like the trucks to set low in the rear or perfectly level. I like a little bit of rake to mine. That way when you put something in the bed, it's not just dragging the ground in the back. All right guys, you can see what I'm talking about here. I've got the tire off, and I went ahead and loosened the shocks up on the bottom right here. Got them swung out of the way. Put some PB Blaster on the threads. And I did not cut these U-bolts off whenever I put them on, so the length of them is still sticking up a lot, and I don't have a socket that deep. So I'm gonna have to use a wrench to get these things broke loose and backed off so that we can drop this axle down. I moved my jack up under the axle here. So let me get these things backed off here. It's gonna take me a little bit doing it with a wrench because you can only get so far of a swing on the wrench. I'll have to lock this one on the end of it, like so. Let's see if we can get these things to loosen up. It's going to take some doings. I'll be back with you when I get them loose. Alright, so I've got the U-bolts loose on both sides of the truck. And so now we're going to see if we can ease this jack down right here. If you can see up under there or not, but anyway. And hopefully we can get those blocks out. New blocks in. It probably froze up in there. Probably gonna need a pry bar to get this thing, get them pried down. Try a wrench. I got a wrench handy. I got one U-bolt here, the threads is messed up on it. Don't want to back off anymore. I was kind of hoping that I could get it out of there with it backed off. I was hoping I had it backed off far enough, but I mean not. Oh well, we'll go around to the other side, see what we can do with it first. Okay, find the pry bar. Yep, wrong drawer. Right there. All right, there's the old block. The pin here had rusted into the center of the axle. This is our new block. And it is exactly twice as tall, as you can see there. Check, make sure pin sizes are right. It appears to be. 3 holes in the top. So all we gotta do is slip that one in there. All right, got that one slipped in there, right there. And I just got it snugged up, kind of run up and not have them tightened up yet. Still got to drop that other one down over there and get it, get the block installed on that side. All right, maybe you guys can see a little bit better on this side. I've got the U-bolts dropped down and the block is stuck in the pin just like the other side. Slipping it out there. Put the other one in. Get all the holes lined back up. Let's see. May have to back off of that U-bolt just a touch more. Threads are messed up on it. Ease down on the jack a touch. There's three pins on the bottom of the spring that has to go in the top of this block. And there's 1 pin on the bottom of the block that has to go in the axle. It went in the axle. Now the axle's moved forward. I got to get it pushed back like that, so that when I start tightening the bolts up, the pins will pull up into the block. They're not going to go down in there. I don't have it just right yet. There it went. Now then I want to try to get these bolts, instead of where they're out like this, I want to try to get them straight up and down. Knock them over like this. May have to loosen them back up a touch. Alright, gonna do the other side the same way. Then we're gonna get them torqued down. Alright. Alright guys, so I've got everything back together. I've got the jack stand still under it and the rear end dropped down. I want to check and see what my shock height is. Fully extended. We're about 12 3/4 or so there. And I'm thinking we're going to be about, I don't know, 10 or so after I jack it up and get weight on it. Just want to make sure that we got some shock travel there. Those shocks are supposed to be for a 0 to 2 inch lift, maybe something like that. Not exactly sure on what the rear is. Anyway, I'm going to jack it up there and see where she sets at with the weight on it, and then we'll get the wheels torqued down. Alright guys, so this is a little bit weird here. This with the suspension hanging, I got it jacked up in the rear. We're showing 12 1/4. When I let it down, we were about 11 1/2. So this is on the passenger side. Now on the driver's side, it is a lot better. On the driver's side, we have 14 1/2, or 14 1/4. Yeah, about 14 1/4 from the top of the tire. So 14 1/4. What was this side? 12 1/2. That's what we decided. Yeah, 12 1/2, 14 1/4. We're gonna let her down. All right, back to the driver's side. And we are 11 3/4. So we got about 3 inches of travel on the droop side, on the driver's side. And we got about 11 1/2 roughly there, just a touch over maybe. 11 3/4. So we have very little droop on the passenger side for whatever reason. The shocks measure the same. I measured from the mount to the mount, so I'm assuming it's just the angle that they are. Or one of them's catching, this side's catching for the other. I'm not exactly sure what's going on. I'm gonna have to sort that out, and I may have to get a longer shock. But I measured from the center to center of the pin there with a tape measure, and I'm showing about 27 1/4 inches with it jacked up off the ground with the suspension dropped. So I may have to pick up some longer shocks because those are about extended all the way, it looks like. I was afraid of that because I think these are probably stock length shocks in the rear, because I ordered these as a set of 4, and they were supposed to be they were the Bilstein 5100 set of 4 for a 0 to 2 1/2 inch lift. But I think that is on the front shock, being the front shock is a little longer by 2 inches or so, and the rear shocks are probably factory. You probably have to go to a 4-inch lift shock on the rear, because that would be for like a 2-inch block, because generally on your lift, when you order a lift kit, say if you order a 4-inch lift, that's 4 inches in the front. They only raise the truck 2 inches in the rear because of the they want it level, but generally most people won't. So I'm thinking I probably had to get some longer shocks there to make that work and ride very good. But for right now, we got it on there. I still got to torque my lug nuts, but I will take a walk around here, show you guys what it looks like here and where we're at on the where the measurements at the fender well here will do. And I'll go on down to the floor this time. We are 45 1/4, or 45 1/2. Yeah, 45 1/2 on the rear fender. On the front fender, we're 43 1/2. So we got a little bit of rake there. I think it looks a little better that way myself. And when you put something in the bed, it doesn't squat. And that's, I kind of wanted something in between the 1 and 2 inch block, but they don't really make an 1.5 inch block. I could have custom built one, but I figured I'd just put the 2 inch in there and call it a day. It is empty on fuel right now for the most part, so that'll lower it a little bit when we put a little fuel in it. But she ought to work okay like that. So anyway, let me get these lug nuts torqued and wrap this video up.